When it comes to the Miami Heat, they probably would have had the best transaction when it comes to the trade deadline. They got Goran Dragic, Zoran Dragic, and John Salmons. But they gave away Norris Cole to the Pelicans and Danny Granger and Justin Hamilton away. But the reason why they probably would have still been great was because of the fact the Dragon could have worked with Chris Bosh. But unfortunately, Chris Bosh is gone for the rest of the season. Hope for a speedy recovery. They found blood clots in his lungs. And I know this is probably, very touching to you, Paul, because Jerome Kersey, who recently passed away from blood clots in his lungs, played for the Portland Trailblazers. And it would have been amazing seeing Goran and Chris Bosh work together, of course, with Dwayne Wade. But we got to talk about basketball and continue going on. Giving away Norris Cole was a blow to the Miami Heat because he's that great defensive player. But you have the Dragic brothers who work really well together, as well as work really well individually as a team, as well as the fact you have a 3-point and a defensive player in John Salmons. So John Salmons can probably fill that Norris Cole role, but he's not a point guard. What were your thoughts on this, guys?
You're right. Chris Bosh and the Dragon would have been an amazing pick and roll, pick and fade duo, pick and pop duo. But unfortunately, Bosh's injuries has derailed him for the rest of the season. Like you said, hope he gets a speedy recovery. But the Heat made moves of a team trying to hold on to the 8 seed, or at least move up to a 7 or a 6 seed if Milwaukee decides to go on a losing streak. Chris Bosh's injuries left them deflated and really without a second option outside of Dwayne Wade, who we've seen in past year has shown a decline in minutes played. Goran Dragic gives them another all-star inside their rotation, and Zoran Dragic gives them another facilitator at that position.
We will see if Miami Heat can keep their 7th seed spot in the Eastern Conference without the almighty Chris Bosh. Paul, do you have any comments on this?
Hey, Riles strikes again. You got to tip your hat to this man. Currently, the Miami Heat sit at the number 7 seed, and I think the moves where it's interesting because I think when the draft rolls around next year, they'll kind of occupy the 13 to 21 kind of space, meaning they're a decent team, but they'll have enough losses where they can contend for a pick, but they're kind of stuck in the middle, which is in the NBA, you either want to be really good or not so good so you can get a high lottery pick. But if you look at their roster, there's still a little pop. I think Goran Dragic, I actually thought Mario was going to be the one shipped out, but for sure it makes sense that he's going to be coming off the bench. And I just think of Shabazz Napier, who was last year kind of the darling of all this stuff. Drake shouted him out at the ESPYs. He's now their 3rd string point guard. And but hey, that's the way the NBA goes. I remember years ago when the Phoenix Suns had Kevin Johnson, Jason Kidd, and a Canadian point guard from Santa Clara named Steve Nash, and he was kind of buried. I'm not saying, but hey, you never know. I agree. I would have definitely loved to see a pick and pop situation between the Dragon and CB4. I think they're both high IQ basketball players. They're both fluid. They can kind of move in and out. I definitely would have loved to see that, but as you know, the health and longevity is far outweighs the game that you play, and we definitely want Chris Bosh to be healthy and recover and be in the best possible shape to continue playing, because he definitely has some years playing. I know obviously when a player like LeBron James leaves of that caliber, there's going to be a huge void that's felt, and I thought for the most part they've done a pretty good job with staving off. They're 25-33, and in the East, that's a good spot. It's an okay spot to be in, but I think there are more moves, and if there's one person I wouldn't doubt, it's Pat Riley. He's definitely had a long track record of making moves, but I think for sure the moves were to kind of get better at the point, but also to kind of hold their position. They even picked up Hassan Whiteside, who has been a surprise this year from the center spot. But I think we'll just kind of wait and see. But the Heat feeling of basketball has kind of faded, but they're still trying to go out and compete hard. As you mentioned, Jerome Kersey, former member of the Portland Trailblazers, NBA champion with the San Antonio Spurs, he did pass. and it was due to blood clots and complications from surgery. So it is a very sensitive subject. But as Jerome Kersey, great humanitarian, great basketball player, those are definitely many things to hold our hats on, and that's why. But Jerome Kersey enjoyed doing what he loved to do, and we definitely send our best and our condolences. But as for the Miami Heat, they currently want to hold their position and kind of go forward and see with what they have. But Pat Riley strikes again. Got to tip your hat to him.
One thing as a basketball fan you should not do is doubt Pat Riley's wisdom when it comes to making moves. But one thing I won't do is count the Miami Heat out. They are currently in the 7th seed, and they would go against the Toronto Raptors if the playoffs started today. Now, I'm not saying they would beat the Toronto Raptors, but if they so happen to make the second round, I would not be surprised. Dwayne Wade is still a leader on that team. If he stays healthy, then he can definitely lead the Miami Heat to a second round in the playoffs. I definitely believe the D-Leaguers that they've picked up, Tyler Johnson, Hassan Whiteside, and now Henry Walker, formerly known as Bill Walker, have been putting up decent numbers for the Miami Heat as well and have been giving them wins. So don't count these boys out. But listeners, it's now your turn to tell us what you think about the Miami Heat and the new addition of Goran Dragic. Do you like them now? Are they in trouble after losing Chris Bosh? Do you think they're playoff worthy? Comment below the video. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks, listeners. Have a great day.